Well, it seems GGG has divided the community once again with their decisions. We're about to dive into it and see what all the hoopla is about. We'll discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, and in my opinion, the fucking gorgeous. So stick around. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Mighty Moth here, back with another video. So we're gonna rapid fire some of the changes and then we'll dive into some more specifics. So they have the Druid coming out, two Ascendancies, the Shaman and the Oracle. They shook up the meta by slightly nerfing a few things, buffing or changing a lot of uniques, a lot of items. The socketables got changes. They're like limited. Every good socketable is limited to one. The scaling of density got moved down. Instead of scaling density per tier of Waystone, they now scale quantity of items, which is going to help with your FPS drop. And allegedly, they have somehow changed the coding for performance, so me and my council brethren, as well as the PC players, can rest easy knowing that you're going to get a 25% increase of FPS. So in those super overloaded maps that you only get 10 FPS, you're probably going to get like 12.5 FPS now. So fucking look out for that. I'm just kidding. Hopefully it's a lot better, and we'll see. But you can now have 4 modifiers on your tablets once you beat Arbiter, which is probably going to be difficult for some people. We'll get into that later. And crafting has gotten a shift. There's a lot of different things that are happening, a lot of changes being made, but you got shape shifting, a bear, a wolf, and a wyvern form. But I think the crafting is going to be the biggest shakeup for this, especially because everyone used the omens of homogenizing exaltation, which are gone. So I'm going to try and keep this video somewhat quick, but give you a little bit of insight and detail. But the reason I think this is, the reason they did away with it, and the reason they made all the changes that they made was they had two options. Create like an intricate loop of in-game gameplay that would captivate their audience, or increase the difficulty to get to the end goal. And when you have to program the druid's animations and make a ton of balance changes and do all the shit that they had to do, it's going to be far easier to just mix it up and make it a little harder for you to get to the end than it is for them to make something that is enjoyable over and over and over and over again to play. And I'm going to get into that. So it starts with the increase in quantity of items dropped instead of the pack size or density for each tier you go up, but also there is an anti-burst mechanic for bosses, which don't get the increased quantity of items dropped on the map as it scales, because they obviously didn't before, so they think that would be far too OP. But so your build has to be good at killing bosses. And now, in order to progress your Atlas, every map has a boss. And in order to get good tablets that have 4 modifiers, you have to kill Arbiter of Ash, which is a boss. And that anti-burst mechanic gives them an additional amount of damage reduction. Seemingly, it's an arbitrary meters moved from the starting location or time elapsed once the boss spawns until that damage reduction goes from what is either 40 or 60 or whatever percent back down to 0, where he is now at the original difficulty of last league. So couple that with the inability to craft whatever you wanted with the omen of homogenizing exaltation and some of the nerfs to like the perfect essence of battle, which now gives you less skills, and all these things that culminate in making it harder to gear your character and harder to progress, it's gonna equate to either time played, so people are just going to play more before they quit and wait for the Path of Exile 1 League to come out, or they go back to D2R for the league start, or they play Last Epoch or whatever. They're hoping that these increases will amount to more time investment. And also with the Fate of the Vow, you get to like build a little mini dungeon however you like. So that is like an attempt to hopefully catch your attention enough to build these little dungeons to however you like in order to farm whatever it is you're trying to farm in order to get to your end goal. Now, the reason they did away with the crafting is because they felt as if tier 5 rare items had become obsolete. Now, in my opinion, and in the almost 3,000 hours I have played Path of Exile 2, I have found a handful of tier 5 rares that were even worth identifying. Like, and I'm not saying this just to be a negative Nancy. Anyone who has watched me stream knows I identify every fucking item on the ground. I have this FOMO, this just fear of missing out on the best item that could have dropped. I pick up all magic items, all rare items, anything that spawns on a base of something that I might be looking for. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that every tier 2 to tier 3 item I have picked up has been substantially better than any tier 5 item I have ever picked up. Just because it's a tier 5 does not mean that it's going to be good. It just means that it has higher rolls on it. And a lot of the time, those rolls are accuracy, light, radius, split, life per enemy killed, life per enemy hit. It's not like, oh, it's a tier 5, so it's automatically going to have T1 fizz on it, or even T3 fizz on it, or even fizz on it at all. They almost always have some just crazy, like, this has an accuracy roll with cold damage and accuracy light radius split. You would have to invest more currency in it to take this shit off and start over than you would just using a fucking white base. And that's basically what it amounts to. If you ask me, you want your gear that drops on the ground, you want people to pick it up, then you have to, once it hits a certain tier, there has to be a pool of modifiers that can now no longer fucking spawn. Because if I pick up a tier 5 rare again and it has accuracy light radius split tier 1 with mana per enemy killed tier 1 with accuracy tier 1, there's like, why does that even roll on something that is supposed to be the upper echelon of items that drop? It makes it to where you don't even care to pick them up. You might as well just get a white base, perfect augmentation, perfect transmutation, perfect augmentation, annul until you get what you want as a good starter, and then work from there. Because it's going to take less effort to do that than it would to fix this bullshito item that dropped tier 5 rare. But anyways, I digress. That's enough talking about that. I'm just saying that all this is done to increase the amount of time you play the game. And I'm not saying that that's bad, because a lot of the times I think people would be more engaged if they weren't able to go from zero to hero so quickly. So while it may sound like I'm bitching about it, I'm not exactly. I mean, I am, but also I'm looking at it from a 90% of the player base standpoint. I'm not looking at it from a guy who in the past has had infinite amount of time to play, which I don't anymore. I'm very busy recently. So now I have now joined the 90% of casual player bases. So I have to look at it in this way. It's going to take you longer to craft the items that you want to craft. It's going to be more difficult to kill the bosses to advance your atlas. It's all these things, it's going to be more difficult to get to the end game that you're looking to get to. But we don't know with the double corruptions and all that, which now you do inside these customizable dungeons. You get these little, I guess, obelisks or hubs or whatever you want to call them, to where you can corrupt your gear and even double corrupt your gear. Though the double corruption has a 50% chance to just erase your fucking item from existence, and the only thing it can give you on the double corruption is an implicit. So if you think potentially getting an implicit of 16% reduced attribute requirement is worth bricking your item, by all means, go ahead and do it. For me, that's going to be saved for like an item that I'm crafting to sell, and if it goes well, it's going to be worth a lot. If it goes poorly, who cares? I'm not going to use it anyways. But now, with the increased quantity of items per tier, if it scales the same way the density did, that's going to give you like 40%, which you could only have ever gotten 40% between your passive Atlas passive tree and perfect precursor tablets. Well, now you can no longer roll quantity of items on your precursor tablets. So you're sitting at potentially 40% quantity of items in like a tier 15 or tier 16 and 40% less mobs. So the amount of items are kind of, they should be slightly more because rares will drop more items, but we're going to have to see how it goes. And now you can no longer instill your maps to get more rare mobs or more pack size or more rarity. So again, we're going to have to see how it goes. It just seems like a lot of the juice is getting taken away, which is maybe why people are upset. It's very divided in the community. A lot of people are hyped for it because you got druid, you got shape shifting, you have updated uniques, which are going to be cool, updated lineage gems and support gems. Why they didn't fucking modify the lineage gem for corrupting cry to maybe, I don't know, be good. Like, I get where they were going with it, like it puts on 5 stacks instead of 1, but at the end of the day, if you're playing on a character that can spam a shout, it's not saving you really any time, it's just killing you. You're just taking life away from your character that already costs life to shout. So you're just draining your health for the same net damage. It is not even an increase in damage at all. It is just 25% of your strength, and you drain 2% of your maximum health per stack. That's it. There is no damage increase at all. That is a trash lineage gem. I looked it up, not even a fraction of a percent of the community throughout the entire league used this support gem. And with that data, what did they do? They didn't fucking touch it. They didn't touch it. That I don't know. That just really is astounding to me. But they did nerf Atuli's Bloodlust, which was the single greatest support gem for our shield wall build, and anybody that uses life as their mana. So originally we had 230% extra damage as physical, and if my calculations are correct, we will get 76% from the same build because you lose 150% cost multiplier. So now you basically go from spending 1100 life and getting what was it, 1 or 2% damage per every 10 life to every 20 life. So it costs less and it gives less benefit. So it's just a net, absolutely fucking nerf hammer, just nuclear bomb on that support gem. It still might end up being the best possible option for shields skills like shield wall, because there are just so few good options for the skill that even though it got nerfed to fucking back, it's still going to be the best option for you to use. It's just you're probably not going to be one-shotting as much as you would have been. But they did shake up the meta by nerfing lightning rods and pure power. Though I still think lightning builds, just because shock is so much more powerful than the other ailments, you're still going to end up basically trying to convert every damage type to lightning if you're a spellcaster or if you're shooting projectiles, unless, of course, you're running a fire build and you can make your spell hit hard enough that the ignite is negligible. Anyways, it doesn't fucking matter. It's just a little extra damage. Um, I think that you're going to have great options with the warrior builds being shapeshifters. I think with some of the changes, warriors are probably going to be some of the tankiest and best options for this style of gameplay. Less density, more mob life, so you're going to have to be a little bit more methodical in your gameplay. So I think that that speaks towards warriors, though I'm sure there's going to be builds out that just fucking eviscerate and evaporate the screen. It's still going to happen. People are going to find a way. And I'm hoping that with these changes, more people play the league longer and the economy doesn't just take a shit within the first 4 weeks, and maybe we can get some longevity out of the game. And I think that it's a good thing that they went in this direction, because you had the easy path last league, and now you're going to have the hard path this league. So in zero point 0.5, they can find a middle ground. Okay, we went this direction, now we went this direction. In early access, these are the times you have to take these leaps of faith. You have to nerf shit. You have to 86 things like, okay, this is too powerful, fucking get rid of it. This isn't working. Do we try to buff it, or do we just say that isn't working at all? We'll scrap that and do something else, like with rarity. They're trying to figure out a way to get rid of it. But if they get rid of it, then people just won't drop divines. Or, I mean, there'll be like 5 divines per league for some people that really don't play that much. So they're going to have to find a way to find a middle ground for that, and I think they're going in the right direction. Now, there's a lot of changes to Delirium. There's a lot of changes to the way the Atlas itself works with all that. And I had a lot to say about this, and I deleted it all. I just wanted to kind of get an opinion out there as to what I thought was going to go on, instead of just boring you guys with what all the patch notes said. And I think we're going to have warriors eating good. I think the lich is going to be good for summoning. I think the invoker monk is going to be good for the wolf form, and monks in general are just going to be eating good. I think the Deadeye is still going to be fucking powerful. You're going to be able to do all the content in the game. So if you're a Deadeye, Lightning Arrow, Lightning Rod player, have no fear. You're still going to be all right. But with the changes to all the runes only being able to use one of each good rune, it is going to mix up build diversity so much, because you're not just going to have everybody getting 3-socketed gloves socketed with attack speed and 3-socketed boots socketed with movement speed. You're going to have to figure out what the best combination of things are for you. Now, I personally am excited for the new Warcry, because it showed at level 7 you get 48% increased damage from socketed skills. So I'm probably going to be doing a Warbringer in bear form with Seismic Cry and Corrupting Cry in that, because we league start Warbringer, Warcry Warbringer every league. So we're going to try that out and see how that goes. It's going to be a lot of fun. With that being said, you already know what it is. You are enough. Stay blessed. And as always, stay mouthy. And even if you disagree or agree, leave me a comment down below. Like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.